Guys, it's your girl Chef Jazz here, owner of Green Panther Chef, where we normalize cooking with cannabis. Super excited about today because we actually just wrapped up a Gruyere grilled cheese recipe, and we want to we want to actually make it or elevate that experience, right? So I'm going to be making a simple tomato soup. We're going to actually get started with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on the bottom. You can use canola, but we are using a lower heat. And so because it is a lower heat, then we are going to use extra virgin olive oil. If you feel like I am leaving you behind in any type of way, beautiful, don't feel like that, because I am going to leave all the recipes inside of the show notes or a link so you can grab all of those recipes. So on the bottom, we have that extra virgin olive oil heating up. We do not want it to overheat, right? So we have some beautiful tomatoes. We have onions and garlic as well. On the bottom of the pot, let's get started with some onion. If it's not sizzling, it's not cooking. So I absolutely love to hear just a little bit of pop on the bottom of the pan, just so we can get like that really depth of flavor. All right, so as that hangs out on the bottom of the pan, it's absolutely fine for us to add a little bit of salt and pepper to the mix. And the reason being is because we can just actually sweat out some of that flavor and all of that good stuff inside of our onions. I love to use a coarse sea salt. But it's totally up to you. This is like enough soup to feed an army. I swear how big that pot is. All right, so now it's smelling really good. We had that going over a medium-low heat for about 2 to 3 minutes. So now let's add the garlic. This is a perfect time just to add a little bit of fresh black pepper to the mix. It's always a great base. It smells so good. Who loves the smell of onions and garlic? I know I do. If you do, leave it in the comments for sure. All right, so I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato. We're at the end of summer, and so if you are not really utilizing fresh tomato and stuff like that, and fresh ingredients, please make sure you do. Because we're at the end of the summer, and that's when everything is at the peak of its season. So especially tomatoes in our region, I'm in Washington, D.C. So in our region, tomatoes are definitely and all we did was just slice those down into eighths. Nothing fancy at all. Let these hang out. Put it down there. Why not? All right, so we're going to let this cook down. We really want those tomatoes to stew, and we really get the sweetness that comes out of our tomatoes. And then we're going to add our tomato juice. This is a quick, actually, tomato soup. So we don't have to spend hours and hours and hours over the stove, Infusing does not have to be difficult. Dinner parties does not have to be difficult. It's just really utilizing the store and a little bit of knowledge as well. Smells amazing. All right. So to the base of that, and this might be a little bit different than some soup recipes, we're going to add our flour, okay? But before we add our flour, I'm going to add a little bit of butter to the mix. And the reason why we want to add just a little bit of butter before we add our flour, and if you feel like I'm leaving you behind, I know I'm just like taking things out of the refrigerator and hacking things down. Don't worry. I'll leave all of the comments and all of the recipes inside the show notes below for sure. But we're going to add a little bit of that fat, and that's the butter, right? This is not infused at the moment because our heat is not too high, but it's high enough. We don't want to burn out any of those cannabinoids. So we're going to be using non-infused butter on the base. And as that butter comes down and it starts to melt, this is the perfect time for us to add our flour. You're probably like, flour and tomatoes, oh my goodness. Basically, what we are creating is a roux. A roux is just a thickening agent. I really don't like to use cornstarch. Cornstarch is all good, but I don't like to use cornstarch. Just a little bit of flour, a little bit of butter, a little bit of thyme, and you got some magic. Starting to get all thick here. That is perfect. All right. On the bottom, because I absolutely love with tomato soup, a little bit of rosemary. I'm going to throw the whole sprig in there and just take it out when we're done. You don't want this to overcook too much. But at that point, that's when it's time to add our cream. Before I add anything else to the pan, we want to make sure we get all of those good bits on the bottom of it. So just give it, time is an ingredient. If you have not heard me say that before, you need to check out some prior episodes. Time is definitely an ingredient. We cannot rush the process. If you're cooking with cannabis, it's a labor of love, definitely. If you don't have the time, check out greenpantherchef.com. We got you. All right, it's already thickening. And this is now the perfect time to add our stock. This is our bud broth. We talk about this on so many other recipes or so many other videos. So if you want the recipe, check out greenpantherchef.com. Before we add anything else, we want to make sure all of that flour and the cream and everything is really melted down. So we're going to give ourselves a good whisk or two with a spoon, not a whisk, or just a good stir. How about that? I don't want the techies to come out and say, well, that's not a whisk. All right. Perfect time for us to add just a little bit more of our coarse salt. I like to layer the flavors of when I add the salt because you're not tasting the actual raw salt on the end. That's a foodie type of thing. All right. So if we're not blending our tomato soup, so I know a lot of people probably do blend their tomato soup. We are not doing that. We're going to save a little bit of time by using some really good tomatoes that are packed in Italy, and it's just amazing. So check it out. I'll leave a comment, actually. I'll leave a link below so you can definitely grab a bottle of this good type of stuff. But it saves so much time. And you can feed the masses. Like when it talks about dinner parties and everything, you do not have to slave over the kitchen all day, every day. Utilizing the store and a little bit of ingenious, right? So I think that's it. Let's give that a good stir. That's really good. Add a little bit of black pepper. Because black pepper is awesome. And what receptor does it work with? Anyone who has seen my show, you definitely should know. I talk about this almost every single episode. So if you can leave it in the comments below, I would definitely appreciate that. I want to see my super fans, that's for sure. All right, guys. So just let this hang out. We're going to pair this with our grilled cheese. Please come back so we can pull this all together. All right, guys. So it is smelling good. It looks like it's tomato soup time. So we have been letting this just simmer and hang out with all of the goodness for about 30 minutes over a medium to high heat. All right. So the main thing, if you want to know anything about when it comes to cooking with cannabis, number one, we do not want to burn out those cannabinoids. So low and slow is definitely the way to go. All right. So let's get this bowled up. It smells so good and I am ready to eat. If you want to know what we're pairing this with, make sure you check it out in the comments below. And that's just nothing more than just a grilled cheese with Gruyere. And then we're pairing that with a little bit of oyster mushroom as well. We have some beautiful herbs in here, so we want to make sure we don't get all of those. But definitely a great flavor for the soup. This is so good, like on winter months. You know, it does not take long at all. You know, so what, 30 minutes that took? It's infused with some really good goodness. We have a great grilled cheese to go with it. I swear, this feels like movie night on 10. Like, Netflix and chill is a real thing. I might sleep, though, after this. Like, all right. Love to top that off with just a little bit of fresh oregano or whatever herb that you use inside of the soup. I'm not going to tell you what to use, but we definitely used rosemary inside of the base of the soup. Top it with just a little bit of fresh herb, oregano. Fresh herbs is just love, right? So what else? We just need our Gruyere. Make sure you check out the other episodes so we can plate all that good stuff up. But how long did that take? A simple tomato soup that's infused with a whole bunch of goodness. So if you love this recipe or any other recipes, make sure you swipe, make sure you like, make sure you comment, subscribe, whatever you have to do. And make sure you are here for our next episode. I'm your girl, Green Panther Chef, Chef Jazz. I'll see you soon.